Oh, very good. So, welcome everybody. My name is Uwe Schmitt. I did this preparation work also with a colleague of mine, Franziska Oschmann, was here, and Ron Schatter, who could not come. And it's about our recent activities to build also some RSE community thing at ETH. So, who are we in the end? What are we doing? So, we are part of the scientific IT service of ETH. We are actually already an RSE group. But not only RSE, we also have HPC, so we call it more research IT. We exist since 10 years already, and as you can see, we do RSE, we have data science support, HPC cluster, we also do trainings and consultings, recently trusted research environments for personalized medicine, and we are also part of the central IT, so we're not a research institution itself. Just a few words about us, and this is who we are last year. Group picture, not everybody made it, but most of us. And a bit of history, how did we get here today with RSE community at ETH, what happened in the past, on the last years actually. So it started with a colleague of mine and I joining the RSECon in Newcastle in 22. We were actually thinking, okay, this is now a meeting for RSE IT support groups like ours. And we had issues with hiring and wanted to have some exchange with people, and to realize then when we were there that it's actually a much bigger thing, with a long ongoing history, with a vibrant community. And yeah, we were quite excited about this. So I went then this year again, or last year again, 23 to Swansea. Even very nice, good weather, much better than expected actually. I never wore the long trousers during this week, always had my shorts on. Talked a lot, presented, was a big fun. And then what I didn't know when I came back from Swansea, actually Simon Hattrick from SSI was invented for another event, the so-called Enhancer Symposium. And Enhancer is a network of research IT professionals. So people who do it for a job like our group, there's Data Science Lab in Basel, research institutes. And they invited Simon Hattrick actually to give also a presentation about the history of RSE and SSI in the UK over the last years, about the achievements and so on. And this sparked also a lot of discussion. So there were a lot of people from all over Switzerland and said also like a bit like, okay, that sounds good. That is a good thing. This is quite impressive. And this is then what happened. At 22, we came back and the idea was, yeah, we should do something about that. Why don't we have it in Switzerland? Daily work came up, organizational struggles forgotten. 23, I was there again, similar discussion. So why don't we have that? Then I came back 1 week later, Enhancer Symposium, now more people in the room discussed already, why don't we have that? And then we said, a few of us, well, we should start something. It's just like, you cannot repeat always the same problem and not find a solution for that. So what we did then, the first steps was actually, we became spammers. So we sent out around 7,000, almost 8,000 emails in ETH. We filtered out all doctoral students, not to spam secretaries or to get some bad feedback from people who get annoyed by this. Well, 1 hour after the first email was out, I got a contact in UK Slack from someone from London who's Swiss, with 10 years working in London, and said, hey, great thing, good that you start this, let me know if I can help. First other thank you email within half an hour later and so on. And we thought, okay, maybe get 50 people together now. We have a mailing list, and they announced the first online information event, and let's see what happens. Just bring the people together and see if there's a potential community. We already had 120 people on a Zoom call over the evening. Invited Simon Hattrick also to give a presentation again, that people get familiar with the term RSE. This term is not known in Switzerland at all, so it was just like, our email was like, everybody who likes coding and research and maybe likes coding a bit more than research or as much as research, please come and listen. Simon gave his presentation with a Q&A, and then Franziska, Tarun, and I, we made a Q&A and explained a few plans we have now to see how we can get this started. We made a survey, and what we could also see that ETH has 16 research departments in the end, and 13 of 16 were present. So it was not a singular thing, there was a common interest over the whole university in a way that this was really resonating with many people. And then we went on. We had our first on-site event then, 1st of February. The structure was also a bit of lightning talks. Everybody wanted to speak, be visible, had the opportunity to talk something about his work, about tool, whatever. It was very widespread, different domains, quantum physics to environmental chemistry to teaching. And then we invited Peter, who's over there, also helped us to give a presentation on Zoom, like what the RSE Society in UK is doing, like an inspiration for the people in the room, what could be done, And then we followed also with a third part, like we made on small discussion rounds in small groups, like working on questions, what would you expect from society or a community? How could you see it in the short term, on the long term? What could be actionable items, what we could do? How can we increase diversity? And it was a quite vivid discussion. So we had a shared Word document, shared Google documents to collect ideas. We're still summarizing it. But the feedback was good. People were excited. And other reactions came on. EPFL Lausanne, another university, contacted us. They want to start something. There is an economic institute at ETH who actually also want to start something without knowing about us. We didn't know about them. Now we try to bring it together. And as of today, I think we have 280 members on the mailing list. The Matrix chat has around 80 people, and the first on-site event, which is a bit limiting because you have to travel, already 65. So the room was quite full in the end. So it was much more than expected. So we thought we'd bring 50 people together in the beginning, and suddenly now it's getting more and more. This is a picture from this first on-site event from after the discussion rounds, lecture hall at ETH. And that was a bit like the past. Now what is today and what do we plan for the future? So we start to connect, now we want to connect the so-called ETH domain. ETH domain is ETH Zurich in the north, there's EPFL in Lausanne, and there are 4 research institutes, PSI, EMPA, EAWAC, and WSL for different topics. This makes the ETH domain. And we submitted now a pre-proposal for getting some funding for community building. So we're asking for something like 300,000 or so for 2.5 years to get at least a bit of the work paid we do up to now. Right now we do it more on a voluntary basis. And since we also have to do other work, it's always hard to prioritize things and how can we squeeze it in. And as soon as we get some funding, we have also an internal argument, okay, I want to spend now a few days on that. And gives us a bit more structure and a bit more certainty on the longer term. And it also will help us to connect the other research institutes. Up now it was at ETH Zurich, but the idea is that we also set up something like a network of RSE ambassadors, so that every institute we have somebody who starts funding a local RSE society meetups, and we would like to take a bit more like the leading role to coordinate this a bit over Switzerland in the RSE domain. And there's also a plan maybe to work towards a Swiss RSE association. This time Patrick asked me already if we can put the Swiss RSE Society at the map by the end of the year. I'm not sure about that. I think things take time, but we are still motivated, and let's see how fast it goes. So now the next event is now on the 12th of March, next week again. We do it this time on Zoom, so the idea is maybe in the beginning I might get once in person, once in Zoom, alternate days a bit, that everybody has a time and people have different schedules. Franziska Thun and I want to give now an overview of the last activities, what happened, and we also wanted to start now to suggest some working groups, also from the group work from the first event. So maybe a working group, no, where is it? Oh, it's going the wrong direction. So it seems to come out a bit, so we need help with event organization right now. Finding speakers, organizing rooms, we are quite stressed right now. With a tight schedule, every 4 to 6 weeks is quite tight for us. There's a general idea of outreach. People suggested to get RSE ambassadors in the departments themselves. We have a bit more access to, for example, institutional events, colloquia, where they can get maybe 3 minutes to speak a bit in and around things. We don't have much access to that as a central IT support group. And this RSE education also came up. So we just had now recently, these days, a big chat already on the element check. And I said, hey, why don't we do make a working group about that and bring everybody together who has interest there. And after this, we want to have, again, a section of lightning talks. So we got more submissions for the first event than we had time. So we also want to give them the opportunity to the lightning talks. And then we have also someone who gives them a more technical, now focused presentation about Quarto, like websites from Jupyter notebooks or interactive dashboards with Quarto, to give it also a bit more the technical aspect and not only the community building aspect. I think we want to attract many people also for the technical parts, not only for the community building. And then we said, okay, it should have also a bit more like a technical aspect this time. So there's the future now. Swiss RSE Society, when and how, we don't know. Big dreams. And that was it. So contact data, license of the slides, and I'm happy to take your questions.